Hey, it's Michael Kosta. This is the Tennis Anyone podcast. Thursday, November 23rd. Don't forget, I'm in D.C. Saturday night, 2 shows. 7 o'clock is sold out. 9:30, Kennedy Center. We're still doing it. Would love to see you there. But first, this.
How would you like to be remembered in the future?
The titles, the numbers, are there. So people probably know that, but the way that I would like to be remembered more is like a good person from a small village in Mallorca that as I said, from a small village in Mallorca, that I had the luck that I had my uncle that was a tennis coach in my village when I was a very, very small kid, and I had a great family that had the chance to support me in every single moment. No, just a kid that follow their dreams. Worked as hard as possible to be where I am today, and at the end of the day, being honest, a lot of people work hard, a lot of people tries their best every single day, but I am one of these that I have been very lucky that the life gave me the opportunity to live unforgettable experiences because of tennis. No, so I just want to be remembered as a good person and a kid that followed their dreams and achieved more than what I ever dreamed.
Do you love this fucking guy? I mean, the titles speak for themselves. I just want to be remembered as a good person from a small village of Mallorca. It's easy to say you just want to be remembered as a good person when you've won 92 titles. 209 weeks at number one, 22 Grand Slam singles titles, 14 French Opens, 36 Masters 100s, 2 Olympic gold medals, $134 million career prize money. I'm reading this stat off of Instagram's Tennis Channel account, but Tennis Channel has still kept John Wertheim off the air for saying Barbara Krejcikova had a big forehead, a forehead that looked like his own forehead. Keep in mind, he didn't say it knowingly on air. He said it under his breath, off air, should not have said it, immediately apologized. That should be it. The longer this thing goes on, the more people are talking about Barbara's forehead. Also, a lot of you've made the same funny comment on my Instagram, which was he should have just said he accidentally said forehead when he meant to say forehand. Stupid world we live in. Tennis Channel overreacts. Now it's becoming a bigger thing than if they just would have let it go. Also, are the people in the control room that accidentally broadcast when they weren't supposed to, are they suspended indefinitely? Back to Rafael Nadal. I just want to be remembered as a good person from a small village. He will be. What is next for him? Yeesh. I don't know if Rafael Nadal is going to be good at life after this. I hope I'm wrong. But, you get the sense of a Roger Federer being good after. You get the sense of Andre Agassi being good after. He's got the foundation. He's speaking to kids. I don't get the sense that Pete Sampras would be good after. I don't get the sense, I got to say, commentating probably saved John McEnroe. I don't know about Novak Djokovic. I mean, I have no clue. I don't know these people, but you need something. You got to focus on something, and all he's focused on has been winning. And, he tried against the Dutch in Davis Cup. Botic van Zandershoop once again beat a Spaniard in Rafael Nadal. And this was not the swan song he wanted this year. And if it feels like we've been saying goodbye to Nadal for a long time, it's because we kind of have, because he hasn't had this year where every tournament we were hoping he would have a championship, hold up a trophy. Instead, it was kind of like coming back, injured, coming back. So we kept trying to say goodbye to him. There wasn't one big final moment, but this is it. He was trying to come back for Davis Cup. It didn't happen. But great champion. We will miss him. The outpouring of support for him, understandably, a great Spanish warrior, champion all around. We all kind of remember first seeing Nadal play, and it was in those caprice pants shorts, which thankfully he ditched. And don't let superstition get the best of you. I bet at some point he thought, will I ever be able to win again if I just wear normal shorts? We didn't even think about that shit. But we all remember when we saw Rafael Nadal first play. It was that kind of unique, that groundbreaking, the forehand. I remember first seeing Jannik Sinner strike the ball. Oh, shit, this comes off the racket a little different. I also felt that way with Felix Auger-Aliassime. I also felt that way with Thomas Berdych. Remember hearing Thomas Berdych practice courts away at the Australian Open. I'm like, what is that cannon? It doesn't mean when someone plays that way and is jaw-dropping, it doesn't mean they're going to go on to become a great champion. Who's the French guy who's hitting two first serves? Petkovic, you know what I'm talking about? Talked about him a few weeks ago. He's like that. You see him hit, and you go, holy shit, this is a whole new style of play. This is very interesting. I'm excited to see if this person becomes a Grand Slam champion. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but we all remember when we first saw Nadal, and then he delivered. It's like when we first watched LeBron play in high school. I remember thinking, why am I watching a high school game? Why is ESPN broadcasting a high school game? I don't want to see this. Oh, shit, here's one of the best players ever. So those bets by broadcasting companies and clothing companies don't always work. But it's fun to watch someone's career take off this way. And my best memory of Rafa, oddly, it's probably that Wimbledon final when he beat Fed in that crazy match that went on forever. The French Open, to me, felt like a lunch pail situation where he just went to work every single day and won there 14 times, and he almost got bored. It was almost like watching, a construction worker every single day lay more foundation, and at the end of it, you're like, holy shit, what did you build? But that Wimbledon final against Fed, that's, the one that John Wertheim wrote a book about, who's indefinitely suspended. God, this thing pisses me off. So that's how that's probably the one match that comes to mind. Also, what comes to mind is him losing to Novak Djokovic in the semifinals of the French Open. That was just such a heart, mind, body-breaking match. Slow conditions, wet conditions, and we weren't used to watching, and in my case, listening. I was listening on radio, listening to Nadal lose, and he's so good that he's won so much, especially at the French Open, that the one match that kind of pops into my mind is him losing and Robin Soderling beating him. So may we all be so good that people remember us when we fault, when we fail, because we win so much. May I be so good at comedy that the times that really stick out are when I bomb. May Richard Pryor be so good at comedy, what we really remember is when he lit himself on fire smoking crack. May this podcast be so great that what you remember are the episodes where I'm watching a match that was 2 years old, thinking it was live, or that I keep getting notifications, or that the doorbell rings, or what else has happened? Forgot to press record, all that shit. Jannik Sinner wins the ATP finals, undefeated, millions and millions of dollars. He got even like an extra $2 million because he went undefeated. He beat Casper Ruud in the semifinals, 6-1, 6-2. Then he beat Taylor Fritz in the finals. Congrats to Taylor Fritz on a great season, 4-4. Keep in mind, Fritz made the finals of the U.S. Open, finals of the year end. Congrats to Taylor Fritz, someone who I love to poke fun at, but I'm not doing what he's doing every day. He's putting in the work, and he's slowly making me a believer. His coach, Michael Russell, I've known forever. I sent him a congratulatory message. It's a great way to finish the year. I mean, if you're Taylor Fritz, you make your first Grand Slam final and you make the year-end final, you have to. I mean, that is a very successful year, and helps you propel into the Australian Open. Doubles was won 7-6, 7-6 by Krawitz and Putz from Germany. Okay. But let's just go through group standings, because Jannik Sinner won. He didn't lose a set, folks. He won all of his sets, and he just beat everybody's ass. He beat Alex de Minaur, went 0-3. Daniil Medvedev went 1-2. Andrei Rublev went 0-3. Carlos Alcaraz went 1-2. Casper Ruud went 2-1. So, look, long year for Carlos Alcaraz. Once you win the French and Wimbledon, you're allowed to kind of sail off into the sunset. Although I hope you don't I'd rather you not play the tournament and work on getting better or staying hungry or something. So, yeah, that's exciting. All the news this week has been Rafael Nadal. But really it was Jannik Sinner, just absolutely dominating performance by him. And on the women's side, we already talked about that. Spain is out. So Federer put out this he put out this 4-page note to Rafael Nadal, which I did not read. Here are some highlights, thanks to Tennis Channel's Instagram. You beat me a lot, more than I managed to beat you. You challenged me in ways no one else could. It meant everything to me that you were there by my side, not as my rival, but as my doubles partner, talking about the Laver Cup. Sharing the court with you that night and sharing those tears will forever be one of the most special moments of my career. Real love fest here. I want you to know that your old friend is always cheering for you and will be cheering just as loud for everything you do next. As a boy who grew up in the 80s in Detroit, watching Bill Laimbeer break people's noses when they entered the paint, it is beautiful and also humorous that there's this love fest between these two rivals. And Chris Evert and Martina Navratilova have a similar thing now. And really, I can tell you, as someone who connects with so many Daily Show correspondents, former correspondents, there are, and I'm sure SNL cast members feel the same way, there are only so many people that really understand what is going on in the world you live in. And without a doubt, Roger Federer probably can't really hash it out with too many peers about the emotions and finances and the challenges and the benefits of being this celebrity, this pro athlete, this successful. He can with Novak Djokovic, but I just don't get the sense they're boys. You know what I'm saying? Why is this sometimes cut in and out? What's going on here? 1, 2. I don't like that this is cutting out. Am I doing something wrong? 1, 2, 3. Check. If this thing cuts out, is it recording? It is recording. Pop, 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 pop. Anyways, of course, I was getting ready to record this thing, and then it's like, you need a new software update, and here we go. Now I'm running late. Maybe I'll just keep it short then, because this is pissing me off. Turning up this. Sorry, you guys. I'm breaking in some Red Wing boots. It's not easy. I went a whole size down. They're way too tight. Then I'm back up another half. I bought 2 pairs. They're expensive. I like that they're made by Americans. It's real work boot leather for, a real working man like myself who's a stand-up comedian. But my feet are hurting. My back is better, everybody. Thank you so much for asking. I'm doing inversion. I'm doing a lot of stretching. I'm doing some Pilates, which I kind of cracked the code with Pilates this week. I found this new stretch that's like really on my obliques and lower back that just helps so much. Trying to start and finish my day with that stretch if I can remember throughout the day to do that. Coming up next week, I talked to Nick Pacelli, who wrote the Tennis Court book, which is that beautiful, beautiful book that everyone should buy for Christmas for any tennis or sporting fan. It's excellent. It's beautiful. The aerial photography, the photography of some of these best courts around the world. My book, maybe it's because I'm popping. Pop. Fuck this. My book, Lucky Loser. It comes out in March, but you can pre-order it. And apparently, according to the publisher, it's all about those pre-orders, ladies and gentlemen. Stories from minor league, junior, and pro tennis and how I transitioned into comedy. It's funny. It's sad. It's embarrassing. There's sex. There's drugs, for real. There's love. There's family. There's tennis stuff. There's comedy stuff. It's good. I poured my heart and soul into it. Pop. Okay. Anyways, you can get all that stuff at my Instagram, michaelcosta.com. Sorry, this thing is fucking me up. What else did I have? John Wertheim should be reinstated. Thank you, Rafael Nadal, for a great many years. ATP Finals, Jannik Sinner kicked ass. I think more the big story is that Jannik Sinner crushed and that Taylor Fritz had such a great finish to the season. I'll be in D.C. this Saturday. 2 shows Saturday. Then next month, Minneapolis and Chicago. Not in that order. I think Chicago's first, then Minneapolis. Get your tickets, michaelcosta.com. I thought one thing that I read that was interesting was we had a very high voter turnout in our presidential election, and it really seemed to favor the Republicans. And what's so interesting about that is for a long time, the fear amongst Republicans was that if more Americans vote, it would benefit the Democrats. And that's like there was this big fear thing that Joe Rogan very incorrectly put forth, that if all these illegal immigrants are coming in the country and they start to vote, they're always going to vote Democrat, which is hilarious because we all know how much ground Trump gained with the Latin vote for a lot of obvious reasons, for a lot of non-obvious reasons that I have discussed. Mostly that the Latin community, much like the American community, believes and wants to believe in the American dream and being rich and successful. And even though I don't think Donald Trump represents that in an honest, moral, fair way, maybe that's something that they're drawn to. Anyways, talked about Trump enough. It's interesting in that when I interviewed a Republican and a Democrat for this National Popular Vote Interstate Compact, which is a law hoping to be passed by more states that would promise their electoral votes to whoever wins the national popular vote. Okay? Basically, what you need to know is that our presidency would be determined by who wins the national popular vote, not who wins the electoral college. If you remember this past election, Trump won the national popular vote. He would still be president under this. Last election, Hillary Clinton would be president because she won the national popular vote. You do need to understand how the electoral college works. This is why we have swing states This is why all these states get focused on for political ads, for spending. This is why candidates very rarely visit New York or California or Hawaii. Hawaii is more population. But when I spoke to the they were lobbyists. When I spoke to the lobbyists who were trying to push this thing forward, the Republicans said, I believe this country is actually center-right, more center-right. And I believe the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact would probably give Republicans an advantage, which is why I'm pushing for it. And now the Democratic spokesperson was saying, I disagree. I think it's going to benefit the Democrats. Or actually what they're both saying is it's going to benefit the country. So it is interesting that the Republicans, there was a high voter turnout and the Republicans won so much, because I actually think that's good for the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact, because historically there's been pushback on a national popular vote because Republicans say we don't want to lose to the Democrats. But what this is showing is that maybe the country is center-right for now. Who knows with the next election? And I think it's because I turned on a fucking, I'm turning that off. The compressor I'm turning off. I think it's the compressor. I'm turning off all this stuff. Exciter? What's the exciter? Should that be on? I don't fucking know. New software. Where it's like when you're trying to get a Zoom and you're running late and then you do I get on the Zoom and it's like download and it's, here we go. So my point is this. Thank you for still listening to this. We had high voter turnout. I think it was the third highest ever. And Republicans won handedly. I'm hoping that pushes Republicans to support the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. And Democrats, who 2 elections ago, Hillary Clinton, would have won if it was based on National Popular Vote Interstate Compact, still have in their memory this would be good for us. I think the way this thing is going to get passed is if both parties think it's good for them. And I think if this presidency was determined by a national popular vote, it would be excellent. I think so many things that we hate about our election would be better. It still wouldn't shorten the election season, but these candidates would have to spread out the love a little bit more. They wouldn't just go to Pennsylvania, Ohio, North Carolina, Nevada. Pennsylvania, Ohio, North Carolina, Ohio, whatever. Nevada. They would have to see the country as a whole populace, not just 3 states. I found that interesting. I think the Matt Gaetz appointee, is he an appointee? I think is a troll by Trump for the rest of us, and it's a good troll because this guy is scumbag-alicious. The other one who's tough is Mike Johnson. I mean, he just speaks so clearly and softly, and he looks so clean-cut, but he does real dirty work. And the fact, this is, reminds me of when they tried to appoint Garland as the Supreme Court, how the Republican Mitch McConnell stepped in and said, that's not going to happen, that's not going to happen. It's like Mike Johnson going on all the talk shows saying, we're not going to see Matt Gaetz' ethical and moral report. It's like, if he's going to be Attorney General, I guess it's a more important question. If Matt Gaetz paid for sex, and I know one person said they saw him have sex with an underage girl. Okay, that's screwed up. I don't know if that's true or not. But I think what we can all kind of agree on is that he paid escorts to come with him to a Broadway play, which ironically was Pretty Women, about a rich guy who buys an escort. I'm thinking 2 things. One, do we want our Attorney General to do things like that formally in their life? There's a part, of course not. There's also a part of me that's like, hey, America, we got to get over our sex stuff. Sex is a thing. It happens. It's how we're all become people. What's funny about that attitude is that's more Democratic attitude, Democratic Party attitude of like, hey, everyone has sex, chill out, who you have sex with, how you want to do it. That doesn't matter. But what's funny is that this is a staunch Republican who's buying prostitutes. I mean, it is very funny, but it also makes sense. It's like the red states, Republican states are always the ones that download the most porn. We could keep going on this. Don't you love when people listen to the Tennessee One podcast? They tune in to hear Rafael Nadal and they get Matt Gaetz buying prostitutes, or vice versa. I just keep kind of fingers crossed, hoping that checks and balances work in this country. But who knows? Who knows? By the way, Trump is not the problem. Trump is a symptom of our division. And, okay, him hiring Fox News commentators to be on his cabinet feels like the problem. But the problem is that we've created a place in a society where those people are seen as authoritarian, as experts, as noble and worthy. So it's easy for me to get mad at Trump for appointing some guy, I even forget his name, the Fox News commentator for, is it military or health? I think health is RFK. But really, we should be looking in a mirror at the fact that we put people, myself included, on camera, influencers, social media, that these people are put on a pedestal. What's the answer? I don't know. Maybe you have it. Share it with me. This is the Tennis Anyone podcast. Thank you for listening. I'm Michael Kosta. I'll see you in D.C. this Saturday. Tickets available still for the 9:30 Kennedy Center. Tickets at michaelcosta.com. I'll be in Minneapolis at the Civic Theater. Is that what it's called? I'll be in Chicago at the Den Theater. It's going to be great, 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 great. I love you. Move your feet. Aggressive swings, safe targets. If you ever need to know how high to hit your forehand over the net, watch Rafael Nadal. Or if anything, the one thing, another match that really comes to mind, Rafael Nadal, is the Australian Open final. Might have been his last Grand Slam final. Australian Open final that he beat Daniil Medvedev, and he was down 2 sets in a break. That is just the fighting spirit on this motherfucker. Let's finish with that. Not Matt Gaetz, not Donald Trump being a symptom of our own division and problems in this country, but of the fighting spirit that exists in Rafael Nadal, a guy who never, ever, ever gave up. The titles speak for themselves. I just want to be a good person from small village of Mallorca. And guess what, dude? You're going to fish now. You're going to fish the rest of your goddamn life. And you deserve it. Thank you, everybody. Game, set, match. Kosta.